Good morning, good morning. Today we're going to talk about bugs. And you guys know I love bugs. I think they're beautiful and they definitely have a part to play in the world. And so the first kind of bug we're going to talk about is insects. But there are also, there are also arachnids and crustaceans and myriapods. And we're going to look at each one of those. But today we are going to start with insects. And insects have three parts of their body, which is their head, their thorax, and their abdomen. And you can see it a little bit better on our hornet. You can see his head, his thorax, and his abdomen. And that's what makes them an insect. Most insects also have wings, and their exoskeleton is waterproof. So these insects are all over the world, and all of these are kind of bugs in general. Not all of these are classified as insects, but insects make up over half of the living things in the world. The tough outer layer of an insect's body is called the exoskeleton, which means outside skeleton. It acts like a suit of armor protecting the insect from predators, but unlike a suit of armor, it can repair itself. So this is the head, which I showed you, and the head contains the eyes, the mouth parts, and the pair of antennae, which the insect uses to smell and feel. This is the thorax, the middle of their body. It carries the legs and the wings. And this is the abdomen. The abdomen holds the gut and all of the other organs. This is what it looks like inside the Roshafer beetle's wing. Isn't it beautiful? And check out some other examples of insects. There's a garden tiger moth. There's a bumblebee. And below it, these are called arachnids. And this is what spiders are going to be a part of. There's a scorpion, a deer tick, and a cross orb weaver, which is a type of spider. And it says arachnids have 8 legs. Spiders are a member of this group, along with scorpions, mites, daddy longlegs, and ticks. There are at least 35,000 known species of spiders, and only 30 are dangerous to humans. About half of all spiders spin webs to catch food. So spiders are really good. They don't mean to hurt us. They mean to help us. Below we have crustaceans. There's some wood lice, some spot shrimp, and a fiddler crab. Ooh, let's see what he does. Ooh. And below we have some myriapods, which you might see if you pick up a rotten piece of wood. There's millipedes and centipedes. And they have long, thin bodies, and they have many, many legs, between 30 and 700 legs. Look how many legs it has. Not moving. Insect legs. Almost all adult insects have 6 legs, but they vary greatly on what the insect uses it for. So this insect is a flea, And you might hear your parents say that they're putting flea medicine on your dog or cat to keep them from itching. And they use their legs specifically for jumping, which is super interesting. And now this is a tiger beetle, and they have long, thin legs so they can take large strides, and they can run really fast because of their long legs. This is a mole cricket. Wow, look at his. It does look like a mole. And these are used for burrowing and digging. It's almost like he has a little shover or digger to get out what he needs. Let's see, this diving beetle uses his legs for swimming. They kind of look like flippers. Ooh, and this caterpillar, his little legs are like hooks. They keep him on the leaves. They keep him holding tight on the leaves. Oh wow, and the grasshopper's legs are used for making music. It says grasshoppers have a row of tiny pegs on the inside of their thighs, which they rub against their wings to make a sound. So bugs are super complex. These are some diagrams of them. This is how they breathe and how they circulate things through their body, which I'm not going to read about because it's pretty intense. It's kind of hard for me to understand. And this is how they make more bugs. A lot of them have little pouches of eggs. Now this, nerves and senses. Now check out his eyes. They're huge, and this is what they look like inside. That's how many lenses that they have. So we have one lens. They have all of those lenses to see. Let's see, and then we have their eating and digestion, which looks really crazy. It looks like they have an octopus inside of them, doesn't it? Now this is a cockroach, and we are gonna open him up and see. Now this is his wing case right here, and these are his little wings, number 2. Number 3 is his exoskeleton. See the exoskeleton? And 4 is the tracheal system. So let's open up and see if we can see 4. There's 4. Wow, did you know inside a bug look kind of like that? And 5 is his heart. 6 is some fat around. Bugs need some fat to keep them warm and keep everything insulated. There's along with some nerves and all kinds of stuff. Isn't that wild? Now, bugs don't necessarily have long lives, but they fit a lot into it. They're always very, very busy. And we know that this is a wasp's nest, which hornets' nests look very similar. And check it out, you can kind of see inside. And we know how they make them. They chew up their wood mixed with saliva, and they make that papery substance. And check out this. This shows us the larva, or the egg comes first, and then the larva, and then the pupa. And they're showing an empty cell and a silk cap. That's what I picked off to find those hornets that one day. This is a paper wasp, and he is probably a drone, which is a worker wasp. And his average lifespan is 12 to 22 days. Look at how intricate his legs are. Wow. Even though wasps seem kind of scary because they sting, they are really helpful. They eat pests that eat farmers' crops. And they actually only come to sting you if you are in their territory, which unfortunately we don't know a whole lot. Can you see his head and his thorax and his abdomen? Wow. This is why I think bugs are so interesting, and I love that God created them because they have lots of useful things that they do. They eat plants that sometimes are invasive and take over other places. They eat pests that aren't very nice. They make honey, and they kind of clean up our area, really. They eat rotting materials, and they spin cocoons made of silk, which can be made into clothes. They're really amazing. Where bugs live. Arthropods live almost everywhere on the earth, in the smallest ponds and biggest oceans, deep in the soil and in the skies above, from the desert and the rainforest to backyards and bedrooms. Some even live on human bodies. So let's check out what lives in ponds. So some live on the surface, like banded damselflies and pond skaters, and some live under the surface, like a water boatman and a banded damselfly nymph. Dark, damp areas of woodland provide plenty of food and shelter. All the creatures you see here are arthropods, except for the snail, which is a mollusk, and the earthworm, which is an annelid. Let's see what lives under the leaf. Centipedes eat insects, spiders, and other centipedes. Some of them live in our backyard. All kinds of arthropods can be found in backyards. They much prefer wild places to man-made lawns and flower beds. Flowers provide food for bees, and ants live beneath the grass. And centipedes shelter and compost heaps, and all sorts of weeds provide homes for insects and spiders. These are some Amazonian arthropods, which means they live in the rainforest. First, there's the orchid bee, who can create perfume-like smells to impress other orchid bees. This one is a leaf cutter who can cut leaves 20 times their body weight. This is a tarantula, which uses the hairs on its body to find food and drive off predators. Let's see, what about the termite? Termites build huge nests underground and inside dead trees. They like to eat wood, don't they? This is a wild-looking beetle. They have extremely long front legs, which they use to protect females from other beetles. And the last couple we have are army ants and lanternflies. Oh my goodness, it's so fast. Some bugs like hot habitats. And the most interesting one to me is a dung beetle. And this writes, I saw this scarab beetle rolling a ball of camel dung across the desert. It buried the dung underground for its larvae to feed on. And a dung beetle, do you know what dung is? Dung is camel poo. So the dung beetle, that's what the larvae needs to help them grow. The whip spider also likes tropical climates. He lives in caves or underground, and they feel their way through the dark with their whip-like front legs, and they grab their prey with their spiny limbs. Check out those spiny limbs. This beetle likes to feed on flower petals, especially roses. This is a stink bug, and it does what it says. They squirt stinky fluid. This is a blister beetle, and it may look friendly, but it can give you blisters if you touch it. This is a golden spotted tiger beetle, and it is one of the fastest running insects in the world. This is a gutta bug, and their mouth is like a straw, and they suck juices out of plants.